Check it out.
Welcome to episode 4 of I Got a Story to Tell. I'm El Coach KC, representing Dark Gray Universe, and to the left of you guys, right of me or in front of me, I have Jordan Williams.
Yes, sir. Or Cilk.
Cilk, right? We're going to get into that, but let me introduce you properly first, you know what I mean?
You're
so
right.
This is Jordan Williams. He's going to go ahead and explain his story, past, present, future, and what that looks like. But first and foremost, before we get started, I always ask, how are your mentals, and how is it your first time at Birria Guadalajara? That's where we're at.
So,
You ain't ate yet, so you can't go ahead and say nothing just yet, but we might be salivating through the interview. But first and foremost, how are your mentals?
Mental is good. I'm really just trying to stay disciplined and focused with a lot of my stuff. Since I do a lot of things, sometimes it's kind of hard to keep that balance and keep the main thing the main thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to put everything together into one brand under Cilk. But my mental's been good. I'm just trying to stay positive.
Okay.
You know, I've been reading my Bible. So
stay in the Word.
Got to. Okay. So I've been trying to stay positive and disciplined. Discipline has been the biggest thing.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. So you said tie everything in together in one brand because you do so many different things. But we are going to touch on something that you used to do as far as for how I met you, and that's basketball.
For sure.
So when we talk about basketball, we do have to go ahead and mention, like, when did you first fall in love with it?
I'll probably say middle school.
Okay.
I think middle school was because that was my first time playing AAU.
Okay.
And seeing the scene and how competitive, I was in North Carolina at the time, and everybody was a dog out there. And I remember just being like, man, like, this is real. And I caught probably after I caught my first dunk, I was 13. I was okay.
So y'all may not know, but Jordan had a little bounce, and I say had because I ain't. You know what I mean? I say had for a reason. But Jordan had some bounce. So y'all hear him saying that his first dunk was when he was in 8th grade. Not a lot of people dunk, period. But to go and get your first one when you're in 8th grade, that's a big deal. So you dunking in the 8th grade already. I don't want people to assume that you're tall, right? Because you are 6'3", 6'2"?
6'2".
6'2", right? So that's a guard position in the league, in the NBA.
Right.
But I am going to ask you as far as for what position did you play?
I mean, it was kind of different. When I was growing up, I was actually bigger than everybody, especially in the middle school. So they had me playing center a lot. And then finally when I hit high school, they had me at the wing. And I played like tweener, like a 4. Sometimes I play the trail guy.
They have you do 6'2", 6'3", you're tall. They're not trying to prepare you for the NBA. They're like, how can we use you right now?
Exactly. So sometimes I'm playing the 5, the trail guy. But, I'm not really guarding the big dudes, mainly wing. Okay. Guard, I guess, still, for sure.
All right, so played guard, played wing. Obviously, we're here now. You don't hoop anymore.
No, I don't.
Right, so we do have to talk about your basketball career. Walk me through it. What was the peak moment? And then also, where was the moment where you're like, this ain't it for me no more?
I think my peak moment was when I first went off to play in college. I was in my best shape. That's when I had the most bounce and the most confidence. I think that was my peak. That was my prime. But when I realized, when I was done with everything, I was playing JUCO at Santa Ana, and I was working my ass off, but I was frustrated because I would be in practice sitting there thinking about, man, I already had it in my mind that was going to be my last year. Okay. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, man, I want to take this energy that I put in this basketball career. I finally humbled myself. I had one of my homies, was like, hey, would you have played yourself during this time and all that? I was just kind of frustrated with it. Humbled myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this energy from basketball and put it into the stuff I really like to do, and that's creating. Okay. So, it actually came to me in practice. I remember being in practice like, dang, I don't know if I love it anymore like I used to. Okay. So in your head, it was, okay, final season, I'm going to try to give this one more crack. For sure. But in the season, that was when you were like, this ain't it. And there was a specific and pivotal moment while you were practicing where, like, you're supposed to be focused on what you're doing, what the coach is saying, what drills you're doing, work on your skills, working on your player development. But the whole time in your head, you was like, I need to get out of here because this energy needs to be spent on what the next stage of my life is. Right. All right, so before we get into that next stage of your life, how did your family take it when you were finally like, yo, like something that I've been doing since I was young, I'm moving on now? How did they take it when you broke that to them, if you did break it to them? I think it was kind of different. especially so you know Justin, and seeing how his path and his growth, you know, you already know he was going to shoot up and do something with basketball. So it's kind of different for me and him. You know, not trying to compare myself to anybody, but for me, it was kind of like a thing like, well, okay, I could kind of see it in their head.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, okay, that probably wasn't going to be the thing that you're going to do anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But basketball will always still be my first love. I still love it.
Mine too.
You know what I mean? But I think what got into it was sometimes the politics with the coaches.
Okay.
That's what kind of made me be like, I don't know if I want to do it like
so
this.
it wasn't even the game of basketball that's the issue. It was the business of basketball.
Yeah.
It was the politics sides of basketball. It was everything outside of basketball that didn't really have to do with the on-court skills and everything that affected and made that decision for you where you're like, okay, this might not be it for me no more.
It just wasn't fun that much anymore.
Okay, so is there anything in particular you miss about those days at all? And if you do, what do you miss most? If there's one thing that you can say you miss, man, it could be nothing. Who knows?
There are times, you know, even watching people play AAU, just being at the games and being with the team was dope. I always miss that
camaraderie, the brotherhood, the community. Okay, bet.
For sure that, and then also working. I do miss that working out every day. I know I could still do it, but you know, it's hard for me when I'm not playing basketball for me to be like, I'm working towards. You get what I'm trying to say?
No, so you said in the beginning, from a discipline standpoint, putting everything together, the thing about basketball and the thing about sports in general is you're forced into a routine, right? Some way, shape, or form. You have practice at the same time every single day.
Right.
You understand when you're in season. You know when you're getting on the bus to go to games.
Right.
Everything is that's built in for you, and you don't really have to think about curating and making your own routine.
For sure.
So now when you leave the sport, it's like, wait, my head coach doesn't tell me when I need to get to practice. My head coach doesn't tell me what I need to be doing off season, how we need to do film study. I gotta make my own schedule. So you're spot on as far as for the reason why it's hard to see that discipline and how that happens. So you spot on with that. Okay, so we talked about you putting that energy into you creating, right? Okay, so you say you do a bunch of things, right? So you go from basketball. What is the first thing you start creating and start doing?
I started really dialing in on my music, for sure, because that was something I always had a passion for, was making music.
Okay.
But in general, you know I want to be more than just one thing, one category. So I don't want to be a rapper. I don't make rap music all the time. I don't want to be a rapper. I don't want to be a TikToker. I want to be an artist, an entertainer. So I started dialing into music, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm kind of personable too. I started getting into YouTube and started doing vlogs, and then I started saying, oh, let me start doing TikToks. One of the homies was like, bro, you need to get your face behind the camera. If you want to do all this stuff that you say you want to do, get your face behind the camera. So I'm like, all right, what is everything that I say I wanted to do? Let me go ahead and try it. You know what I mean? I was just trying stuff. You know what I mean? So I was just like, all right, I just knew after basketball, one, I wasn't going to work a 9 to 5 and just go home. You know what I mean? Because I knew there was something more in store.
It was dead for you at that point. Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, I know I want to be an entertainer. So whatever I do, I tried streaming at one point. You know, I was kind of like, to the point where I'm doing too much at one point.
Okay.
So I guess that's where the effort came in, where I'm just putting effort into everything. Where now some things started taking off here, some things started
to stick. Okay, bet. Okay, so we still do got to talk about the music though, right? Before we get into everything else, because we are right. So we're thinking like first track, first song. So obviously you writing, obviously you freestyling, obviously you go in the studio and stuff like that. But that first time that you made a song where it was completed and it was packaged and you heard it, what was that moment like?
That was a trip. So the first time I ever made music was actually for one of my homies' campaign videos for school. He was running for school treasurer, and he asked me and one of the other homies, do you want to hop in our video and rap? That was going to be his campaign video. We made a music video. And I remember getting spending a night at his crib. We were juniors in high school. Spending a night at his crib, and I would always take his MacBook and be on GarageBand and start making music. And his mom would be like, tell that boy to shut up, I'm trying to sleep. You know what I mean? So it was crazy because Christmas later that year, I get my first MacBook. And I was like, oh, I already know what I'm doing. I'm going straight on GarageBand. I'm just going to make something. And so I get my PS5 headphones, and I would go in the garage. I would sneak, because sometimes I'm saying, you know, vulgar words or whatever. Especially when you first making music, you saying whatever.
You got to rap like everybody else, you know what I mean?
So I'll go in the garage while everybody is sleeping. I come back, and I made this song called Distant. It was whatever, you know. I was just making something. I didn't want to put it out yet. I didn't want, you know, for some reason, I didn't want everybody to look at me like, oh, here's wannabe rapper
Okay,
going
I
out
see.
at school. You
Buy
know?
my CD, please.
Yeah, you know? So I released this song. I sent it to a couple of people called Distant, and people at school came up to me random and was like, bro, I listened to this.
Yeah.
This is kind of dope, bro. Like, you kind of have something going for you here. And just getting that validation was dope, where I was like, oh, shoot.
Okay.
You know, I was like, okay, that's kind of hard. Like, I don't know if I want to release it yet, but that was kind of dope to say I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was good to get feedback on something that you created that you were potentially vulnerable about, because being creative is a little bit more on the vulnerable side than people think, which is completely kind of different from sports, right? Like the emotional aspect when we go ahead and put something out from a creative standpoint, it's already released with a certain level of emotion.
Right.
In sports, it's almost like that physical, like beat your head on the desk, so it's not that big of a deal.
For sure.
But to have your first song where you're like getting that validation, so I can see how that's a dope moment. Okay, so now you're putting songs out. Did you collab with any other artists? Was it mainly producer things? Like how would you say that you curated your sound?
It's definitely just grown over, because I've been making music since 2018.
Okay.
So it's definitely grown. I've definitely had artists that I do work with.
Okay.
I have a producer I work with. His name is Lucid. Shout out Lucid if he ever watches this. But yeah,
Lucid, you better watch it.
Yeah,
you talking about if you watch it?
Yeah, shout out Lucid, you know. But yeah, so I worked with him. I worked with this dude named T. Sydney. He's raw too. So just over the years, just getting feedback from different people, and it's kind of crazy how your sound kind of molds. Whatever you do, you're like-minded with whoever you're working with.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So like everything just kind of molded over the years. I definitely see my stuff mature from now to the stuff I did back in the day. For sure. Okay,
so it sounds like, I mean, just in our conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So basketball obviously did teach you stuff,
for sure,
right? What did music teach you that basketball didn't?
That's a good question. Let me think. I think it's so crazy. I think with art in general, I get this thing where for me, like, okay, when we went to go shoot our video, I was sitting there like, all right, yeah, I want to get Casey in this. Okay, he got the boxing thing, but Casey does this. You know what I mean? I want to put Casey's face in here because this is Casey. How can I help you and you help me? How can I help this artist and he helps this artist? So I think with basketball, obviously you're going to want to be the greatest. With anything that you want to do, you want to be the greatest. And there's competition. It's more competition, almost like, oh, okay, if you see somebody walking in limp and you be like, oh, he can't guard me.
You sizing them up.
You know, like
okay,
he can't guard
walk,
me.
Okay, I hear you.
But then for me, especially growing up and being an underground artist, there's other artists that are out there. And if you want to collab with them, they're kind of, I'm not trying to work with him. Like, I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? So I think you should always have friendly competition, but then it's also like, why can't we put each other on and grow together rather than, you know what I mean? Rather than, oh, look at this rapper, he thinks he's better than me, I can rap better than him, or whatever. You know what I mean?
The analogy I'm going to put to that is that there is a basketball side to it, but then there's also a curation side to it, what you're doing, right? So you're bringing people to a new environment. So you brought your audience to the boxing gym. And so that's you curating that environment. Casey was my basketball coach and was my trainer then, but he does boxing now and he really does this. I need him in this video because that's that emotional connection that we have from in the past to now in the future, right? The analogy I'm going to give to you as far as from being involved in basketball is that's what point guards do. That's what coaches do. We're true point guards at that point, right? I'm supposed to set you up. I know where Jordan is going to go ahead and play best. I need him to go ahead and catch that ball in the short corner on the left side so he can rip over the top to go ahead and get a dunk. Right? Okay, I know Jake is a shooter. I need him to go ahead and be able to catch and get that off of his right side pocket. You know what I mean? So that's what you're doing now. So it's funny because that's something that you could have done in basketball, right? But basketball didn't teach you it. It was your creative side that kind of taught you it. So it's funny to see that the analogy, at least for me because I'm in the field, to see how those analogies kind of go with each other, right? For sure. So that's something that hip hop, rap, you making music taught you that basketball didn't. So we do got to ask, you being creative is a more vulnerable side for you. Like, talk to me about a low moment.
Like with just being creative?
Just being creative, or just in general, where now you're no longer doing basketball, or it could have happened when you did play basketball and you decided to go and hang it up. But then now you're getting into a more creative side where you're releasing your emotions to people. You got the validation, but was there ever a moment where you didn't get a validation? Was there any moment that you were like stuck in a rut? Was there any moment where you're like, I'm low right now while I'm trying to pursue this creative path in my life because that's what I'm on right now?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I'm really, really hard on myself.
Okay.
You know, I actually was working on a song yesterday, and if I get a block, I'm super hard on myself. Or if I can't, for some there's times where I get creative block.
Okay.
And I'm like, I need to go outside, I need to do this, and I feel like if I'm not doing something, I can't sit and relax.
Okay.
I feel like if I'm not
You gotta
doing
keep
something,
moving. Men don't like to sit down.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta be moving.
Right,
You know how
gotta
that-
be like,
you know how
what?
that goes.
I'm just not sitting at the green later watching
Yeah.
TV. Like, I gotta be doing something. So there are times where I will get, you know, if I feel like I'm out my groove, then those are my
Okay.
lows. And I feel like I need something to spark it up. So a lot of times when I'm sparking a bunch of stuff going at once, there's times if I'm stopping on one thing, something else is kind of slowing down, something else is kind of slowing down. But if I make a song, I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, I'm starting to get the stuff rolling again. You know, it's a weird,
Okay, one, I'm gonna ask you, do you read or listen to books?
the Bible only.
Okay, so I was on that for a moment too. I was like, put all other books away. I'm focusing on the Bible for now.
Right.
I did get right back into other books, so I'm back on Audible and stuff right now. There's a book that's it's narrated by Rick Rubin. It's called The Creative Act. You should read it.
Okay.
You should read it.
Okay.
Because what you just explained right now is what happens. And as a creative myself, it's as soon as you do one thing creative, it leaves room for more creativity to come in. But it's like turning a faucet on, right? Like as soon as the water starts coming out, it don't stop unless you stop it on your own.
Right.
So once you start one creative thing, then everything starts flowing,
Right.
everything starts flowing.
Sure.
So so the low moment happens for you when you get stuck.
Okay.
When you don't create one thing. So
Right.
would you say that's what your
Yeah,
low
for
moment
sure,
is?
for
Okay.
sure, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So that makes sense then.
For
Okay.
sure.
So now, if that's the case, did we talk about that's how you got past it? You just created. You did one thing and then everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, sometimes I come with the grips too. Is like, maybe I just needed a break.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
See?
So, and even then, I'm like, okay, like I was saying, I don't like taking breaks.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to be like, I'm going to take a break. I really got to be like,
Okay.
when I'm taking a break, there's times I'm like, okay, I really, really need this
Yeah.
break. Like, I'm tired. Okay, I know I need a break. But then there's times I don't want to take a break and
Okay.
I want to create, and it's just not coming to me.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Read the book because
Okay.
there's moments in the book that talks about that as well, where you just
sure.
got to go ahead and chill out.
Okay.
You got to go ahead and chill out. But I mean, we're all on our own paths. So something that may work for you may not work for me. Something
Right.
that may work for them doesn't work for you. So we're all trying to curate, right?
Yeah.
How we do our things, how we
sure.
schedule and everything like that. All
Yeah.
right. So you still rap, you're still creative, you're still into hip hop, you're still into all the other music. All right, so now we got to talk about, I mean, we're in a restaurant right now. So we got to talk about food. We got to talk about food. I mean, would you call yourself a food critic? What would you, I mean, I know you're not like, you're Jordan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
is food critic something that you would label yourself as a little bit?
I don't know. That's something that's so different. That was so different for me. And I didn't. It kind of happened on accident.
Okay.
You know.
That was when you were throwing stuff on the wall and you're like, this stuck and I gotta keep with it,
Now I
right?
gotta keep. You know,
Okay,
whatever's
okay,
work is
okay.
work. Is because a lot of the food that I am trying at the end, I'm just starting to get to a point where I'm rating it.
Okay.
And where people are like, okay, at first it was for comedy.
Okay.
And I'm just trying food. I'm like comedy. And I wasn't rating it. Everything I had to me was fire. You know what I mean? So I wasn't even a food critic. It was just like, oh, he's just going out to eat and whistling.
See,
You know what I
if I
mean?
can eat it, it's edible, it tastes good, I ain't rating it.
Right,
Okay.
you know? But now I'm finally getting to a point, watching other people, I'm sitting there like, okay, what is getting them views? What's making them pop off?
Okay.
Especially like with Keith Lee.
Okay.
People are like, oh, I'm trusting his ratings. There would be people that type in Keith Lee on their order so they can get their food good.
And figure, okay, I see what you mean. So it wasn't even only about figuring out what to eat. It was like, make sure that you know Keith Lee's coming so you make this the best way possible.
Right.
Okay.
But for me, like now I'm finally starting to get into ratings a little bit.
Okay.
Just so make people be like, okay, he's credible. Let me listen to him. Oh, okay, I'm watching for the funny part.
Okay.
But he actually rated this food too. Oh, okay, he's credible. He's
Okay.
reliable. Okay, I can trust him. Let me follow this dude.
Okay.
You know.
So it started off on accident. It was just on accident first, right? And so you spoke on it. Like, what do you think made people resonate with it? You said it was the comedy, so it was funny. So was that
Yeah.
it, or was there other things that made people resonate with it? Because I mean, let's be real. How many followers do you have on TikTok?
226,000.
Okay, so it's not as if you're talking to like I'm talking to myself right now, where I don't got a bunch of followers on TikTok, and I'm like asking you if you're a food critic, and I have like 300 followers. It's like, nah, I'm asking somebody who has a fan base.
Right.
People resonate with it. So
Right.
it was the comedic relief. What else was it that you thought maybe that they resonated with?
For some reason, you know, with the whistling and just growing up, I felt like the whistle and the food with the S's making it satisfying.
Okay.
Just with whistling and food, I don't know how to explain. Just hearing like salt,
Okay.
just like little stuff like that. You know what I mean? For some reason, I felt like that hit something in somebody's brain that's just like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, 200K, obviously, like
you
it's
know
just
what
stuck.
I mean?
You know what I mean?
So I think that's what made, you know, I went to Crumble Cookies. That was the first one that took off.
Okay.
And I was just watching it, just whoa, 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 and I was like, dang. But I came in on the video, I said, oh, they said it. I said, they said it sweet. They said it sweet.
Okay.
And I feel like just that was like, oh, shoot. You know what I mean?
So
like,
it made so I mean, because outside looking in, for me, if I'm a consumer, I'm looking at it where it's like that's gonna stop me. Where it's like, did I just hear that correctly? Like, did he do that on purpose?
Right.
Is he talking like this the whole video?
Right,
it's like you have to stay to figure out if you're playing,
Right.
and if it doesn't go the whole time. Like it makes you like outside of just the fact that everybody's gonna enjoy food.
Right,
You're thinking
right.
to yourself like, is he doing this the whole video?
Yeah,
And then
for
like he's doing it all. So you
Yeah.
just you have to find out. Like you have to tickle that fancy. Okay?
Right,
So
right.
now you talked about you're not rating food now at this point, right? So
Well, I am
are you,
now.
okay, you weren't rating it before, but
Right.
now you are getting into the intricacies of like rating the food and making it your craft now, right? So it's something that you're starting at that point. So
Yeah.
okay, now with you going out so many places to eat, right?
I didn't know where this was going, bro.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. All right.
What you trying to say,
Let me get that.
Casey?
I'm not gonna say that. Well, we're not
I
gonna go
get
there. Okay, so has it changed how you thought about food? Because obviously you're going to a bunch of places to eat,
Man.
And
It definitely has like, it definitely
you
has.
thought we was gonna go there.
No,
I'm not doing that to you. I'm not doing that to you.
I know, I'm just messing. Nah, but it definitely has made me look at food completely different.
Okay.
Even me cooking food, you know, I'm a wing connoisseur. I love wings.
Okay.
That's my favorite food. So now I'm looking at one place for wings. I'm like, okay, that was fire. But okay, with this place, they did it like this way. This place, they did it like this. Oh, it's beer batter. Oh, they baked it for 100.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a science to you now.
Yeah.
You're looking at things like, oh, they did this for that.
Right.
That's why they put these flavors
Right,
together.
right,
Now.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. So basketball, rap, and I don't want to just say rap every single time. Music, being creative, right?
For sure.
Food critic. All right. So you got all these things that happen together. Like, what's the connecting point outside of it? Obviously, being Jordan, that's involved in all these things. How do these things all connect for you now?
It's crazy because, you know, especially with basketball, you know, like I was saying before, taking that same energy and effort in from basketball and learning how to, you know, that camaraderie and communicating with people, I can take that into music. Now I'm talking to my producer a certain way. I'm not sitting there in the side like, oh, I don't know if I like that. Okay. Like for me, I don't like sugarcoating. If there, you know, if I'm messing up, then tell me I'm messing up. If you, for my producer, if you don't like this sound, then tell me you don't like this sound. If I, you know, vice versa. Like if I don't like what's going on, I gotta tell you. Like back then when I was a coach, if I'm messing up, he's gonna tell you, Jordan, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean? But it's hard to connect a lot of that with. I mean, I guess. Editing is kind of ties a bunch of stuff too. Like, I mean, that's kind of. I know that's not kind of where you're going with your question, but
no. So you said it correct because I want the answer to be honest. I want it to be like if I'm asking you questions to go ahead and tell your story. Right?
Yeah.
So the question brought out the answer that is true. Like there is a common thread, and the common thread is that you understood that I had energy that I put into basketball, and there are certain things I need to do to get good at basketball. I'm no longer worried about basketball anymore, so this energy needs to go into the creative side. And so now as you get better at being a creative, you're like, okay, now what do I need to tap into to be more efficient about being better at creative? Now you do it in the TikTok standpoint as far as being a food critic. At first you were just eating, and everything was fire like you said it was, right? But now you're like, how do they make their wings?
sure.
So like that, it does go across.
Yeah.
But the things that you're picking up now, you may not have seen that's what basketball taught you then.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how our paths work. We just go ahead and bounce, and you're like, oh shoot.
Like I picked that up, man.
Exactly.
I didn't even notice.
So now the question is for you, because you started with basketball. You're no longer playing basketball. So there's a kid that's on their journey the same path as you. They might not. They might hang up the shoes and the laces early.
Yeah.
Right. So what would you say to them about their journey ahead, as far as what's going to happen with them?
It's crazy. Well, you know, piggybacking what you said earlier with basketball too. I guess another thing that I've learned is reps. Reps with anything. It seems like, you know, when you hear reps, you're thinking about working out only.
Okay.
But you know, even when I'm writing, if I am writing and I can't come up with something, that was still a rep.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Even, you know, I took this TikTok video and it flopped. Okay, it's still a rep. Now I can go back to that other TikTok video and be like, why didn't that work? Okay, this video worked because of this. That's you almost have to have. Well, not almost. You have to have times where you are messing up. You're repping. You know, that's what a rep is. You're trying to figure it out.
Okay.
But then, so this is something I would tell the kid, because when I was in school, I took a graphic design class just randomly.
Okay.
In high school, I was playing basketball, took a random graphic design class. I was in graphic design like, wow, this is dope. I didn't know I would like
graphic
this.
Design is fun.
You know what I mean? I was like, man, this is dope. I did not know that 5 years later, I'm making music, I'm doing all this creative stuff. I buy graphic design, I buy Photoshop and all this. I'm like, dang, I didn't even have to look up how to use it, but I took that class from 5 years ago. I didn't even, you know what I mean? Now I'm like, dang, so all these little life lessons, little, you know, even stuff where you're just trying stuff. I took a film class in college. I don't know why. I just thought it would be cool.
Okay.
Now I'm shooting my own music videos. Now I know the rule of thirds. Okay, I got to shoot. I can't put the camera here. Okay, you got to shoot somebody where they're going or where they're leaving from. It's boring if it's, you know, I like this guy named Wes Anderson.
Okay.
I like his films. And everything he shoots is symmetrical. But, you know, if I didn't take this film class, I wouldn't have been able to have the film sense and the camera sense.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it just happened. Like I didn't know. You know, I just come later, 5 years. I'm like, dang, that's right. I took that film class from 5 years ago without even, you know what I mean?
So I'm seeing the thread. I'm seeing the thread, and hopefully for you, you're seeing it as well. Because when I had asked the question before, you were like, I don't know what the common thread is.
Right.
But the more you talk, do you see as far as like how everything connects and how a decision that you made back then for this now implements into the other? All right. So we do before we get into what's chapter 4 for you, or we get into the next thing in the future for you. I gotta ask: is there any story that you haven't told anyone publicly from any of those eras that you kind of want to share? Like, it could be a high, it could be a low, it could be a dope moment that you kept to yourself. The floor is yours in that aspect, and I just want you to sit and think about maybe if you want to share. If the answer is no, we don't got to talk about it. But if you deep down, if there's something that you want to publicly share that you haven't told anybody, I do want to hear it.
I'll tell you a low. And this is something that, you know, one of my lows that you asked me about earlier, and I just didn't share it, but so I went to go shoot this music video, Greedy. I went out to LA. I went rented out this room from Peer Space. It was an all green room. I just knew I wanted the video to be green. I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I knew I wanted the video to be green. So I'm sitting there figuring out, trying to get the nicest camera and all this stuff. My girl had bought me this camera, so we go pull it out and use it. We pull up in this Peer Space.
Okay.
We're kicking it. We're shooting the video. Me and her it's just me and her in there. Video comes out dope. I'm like, yeah, let's go. It's late at night. It's probably like 10. I go back to the car, and I asked her, like, you want to go get something to eat? She's like, yeah. I leave my stuff in the car. I come back. I leave. We go get something to eat. Come back. Window is shattered, stuck, computer gone, camera's gone, all this stuff is gone. I'm driving around LA acting like I'm gonna find this dude. I'm furious though. I'm furious. Cause you know I'm sitting like when you get your stuff stolen, that's like, you know, something, you know what I mean?
Dagger.
Somebody's attacking you, man. Exactly.
It's something materialistic, but it's like, bro, that meant something.
Yeah, and especially like I'm trying to get something off here, and it's like y'all, you know what I mean? It's almost like y'all messing up the process, and we weren't even gonna go get food. So I was, you know, I'm thinking about all these different things. I drive off, and this is where God comes into play. So I drive off. My pops the next day. He helps me. We go to the junkyard. We get a new window. My grandma hears about it. She buys me a new MacBook. So I'm talking to my mom, And something in me was like, nah, like that's not it. Like I gotta go back. I gotta go back to that place. So I rent the place. I hit up the people. We send in a report and everything. They don't help. They don't care. It's out in LA. There's worse things happening. I go and I shoot the video again, but this time I shoot it on the iPhone. Came out 10 times better than I ever thought.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And to me, that was one of those. I had one of my other homies that performs. His name was Mark Lux, and this meant the world. He came up and it was just like, bro, he's popping, he's doing his thing, and he came up and he was like, bro, like that inspired me just hearing that story because my friend Dion, shout out Slum Sons by the way.
Okay. My
friend Dion told him the story. He was like, man, this sick stuff just happened to Jordan. He was like, so Mark came up, he was like, bro, you went to go shoot that video. I heard about it, and bro, that inspired me. And I'm like, man, like somebody that's on a different level right now is telling me that right now. Like,
look at God.
You know what I mean?
Look at God.
Well, one, look at God at that, but then two is like, that's when I started tapping in my Bible really, and I started realizing like, I think before I would be so consumed with what I don't have, and you know what I mean?
Okay.
And my mom was telling me for the longest time, you don't need to buy the iPhone shoots the crazy, you know what I mean? So I go back and I'm like, okay, I don't have the camera this, I don't have this, and I shoot it on the iPhone, and I make the video on GarageBand. And I was looking at the color. I didn't know how to color grade it at the time. I'm looking at the color. I'm like, this looks flat. And then I looked at there was a green tint on it. I was like, psh, psh. One button. I was like, oh, that works. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is dope. You know what I mean? I'm like, this whole time I thought I needed the camera. I needed the nicest this. I needed the nicest this. So the whole thing was, for me, it was like, God is, a lot of times we're so consumed with what we don't have, but then there's God comes in, it's like, bro, look what I gave you already, bro.
When everything's stripped away, you realize you already had what you needed and more, and that was enough.
Right, for sure.
So, I mean, camera can't see, but like, this is the main reason why I do these stories, because like, I get goosebumps sometimes. So like, if you can see I know you can see it.
I can
my
see
hair's coming up, I get goosebumps because, I mean, this is the point of it. It's like, and first and foremost, thank you for sharing that, because we almost didn't get it. Right? Yeah. And it's one of those things where you're allowing yourself to be a vessel and let God speak.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So those are the things that mean everything. So I don't even have to ask another question as far as for what you would say to somebody out there who has to choose between paths where they're good at something, but they're passionate about another. I think you just answered the question before I even need to ask it, right? And so look at God at that point, right? Right. So now the next question there is, what does the next chapter look like for you? What does the future look like for you?
Man, I'm excited. I got a project that I'm working on called Through the Chaos. I'm trying to drop it by the end of this year.
Okay, trying to drop it. What would be the reason why you don't?
Well, I know I will drop it, but I know I will. But by the end of this year is when I'm trying to get it by. But I'm still trying to get to the point where I really, really make it as perfect as I can.
It's your art,
right? For sure. But with TikTok, I'm trying to come out with these boxes.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to say too much about
it. We talk off camera about that. Sorry, y'all.
I'll try to come up. I'm coming up with something cool for TikTok that I feel like people will want to buy and do reviews on themselves. So, I don't want to say it, and somebody be like, "Whoa, hold on!" But for sure that, and I'm really trying to tie everything in under one brand.
Okay.
So I've gotten some opportunities where I can start posting multiple things under one platform and start to get some revenue off it.
Okay,
I'm like,
that's dope.
Cool.
Okay,
so,
I'm happy for you when it comes to that. Okay, so Jordan, before we get into the food, I do want to go ahead and say thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing what you shared with us. We have part 2. We're going to get into food, but the interview portion is done. So that is episode 4. I'm L Coach Casey on behalf of Dark Gray Universe. We'll see you on the next one.
For sure.
And we're about to eat.
Sure. That was good.
Check it out.